Love gadgets too. Hello, hello. It's our favorite alien.
That's a microphone.
All right, I got a tech question. Which is the best one? Are they all equally pretty cool?
That's a good question.
But I mean, whoever owns that, you say, oh, shit, I wish I had that. And the person who owns that says, shit, I wish I had that.
Absolutely.
I don't know, that looks pretty cool. I'm pretty certain you can detect ghosts and stuff.
Paranormal activity.
Yeah.
So when are you two going to get screen time? Where you going to talk with each other, right?
Yeah. Oh, screen time together.
Yeah.
I was going to say, shit, we should get a whole episode just from either one of us.
You're gonna see us. We did not interact all season until in the finale. You'll see a quick writing exchange. It's quick. Yeah. I can't say it right now.
Oh, okay. Because I remember when you were getting on the plane, I'm like, oh, hell no, or whatever the hell.
Oh, right.
We never actually.
He talks about me a lot, but he doesn't talk to me much.
Yes. What was the word that you used for him? Bobblehead. Bubblehead. That's
Bubblehead,
it. Yeah.
Bubbleheaded bastard, I think I call him.
You're very descriptive.
And I get to call him John Pope. Yes.
Hey, bubbleheaded bastard.
It seems like more and more people are kind of coming around to the Pope philosophy within the show. That, okay, he's a bastard, okay, we know he's not a good guy, but the points that your character is making more and more are logically sound, it seems like.
Well, it's neat when you get the guy who's basically the bad guy or the dirtbag, and the audience is like, yeah, what he said.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, but I think that's been the way from the beginning. And it's neat to see the reality start to go to where somebody should really not just listen to what this guy's saying, but do what he's saying. So and him and Weaver are starting to partner up a little bit in terms of their minds, so it's nice to see.
Yeah. But is that going to lull us into this sense of, oh, he's a good guy again? Do you ever worry about your character moving too far into the light that you lose the darkness?
No. I think the writers are always one step ahead of wherever I think I'd be, and I think if things started to get really, really good because of all the goodness that Pope's doing, he's going to find a way to use that for his own selfish gain anyway. So he'll be it wouldn't last very long before he starts taking over or whatever the hell he's got to do. So, but yeah, no, it's a good point. Don't want him to become too good. If he does, it loses its edge, it becomes boring, I think.
Yeah.
You and Weaver get a lot more screen time in these last half of season 3. Tell us a little bit about that. You're polar opposites of each other, but you find that your ultimate goals are aligned this season.
Yeah, I think Pope's always never liked Weaver, but respected him. It's like I get it because the hierarchy. I think that's one thing Pope does understand is hierarchy. And I think his last episode we're telling each other to watch your back. Yeah, you watch your back too. So there is something interesting going on. I think Weaver's starting to have doubts about who's in charge and stuff like that. And Pope's always had those doubts, and I don't trust anybody out here. You really think this and you really think that, and those little cracks are starting to appear in Weaver now. He's starting to wonder himself, what's going on? So I think they're watching each other's back now, which is a nice change in the story.
Coach is a smart guy and is very diplomatic, and yet we've never seen him walk into Pope's bar and mingle amongst the people, which would probably go a long way too. So why
that would be. Boy, talk about a phonograph record. Here comes Coach Cheese.
Yeah, that would be a good scene.
Whiskey, please.
Kick back a few brews and mingle with the gang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, can we see anything like that as far as your character interacting more with a wider, cast?
Because I'm a leader, I basically deal with the leaders on leadership issues. That's where you see me mostly. You'll continue to see that really. I like what you're going for. into introducing some humanity to this character.
Yeah.
Or what we like to call vulmanity. Thank you. Vulmanity, yeah. And when episode 9 comes along this season, you're going to see a little bit of an emotional thing happen for Cochise. He's not an emotionally charged being. We're not an emotionally charged race.
Yeah.
So
Cochise called Ball.
right, yeah. Now, I don't think that relaxation and kicking back Bruce with the boys in the bar is something that my culture has ever done. We're workers, we're doers, and especially now what we've become, as you've seen my story unfold, is that I was born on a ship in battle, chasing the Ishveni around the universe. So that's all my generation has ever known. So that doesn't bring back a whole lot of bards with
You'll see Cochise with like a gambler's vest and a hat, dealing cards there.
Yeah. If you had anything to say about it, yes, you would. But episode 9, you're going to see him gain some humanity, he's so intelligent, and he brings technology, and he's here to help, and so there is a superiority about him, even though he's very generous about that. And gracious about it, but in this episode, episode 9, he's going to fall to the lowest he's ever been, probably, and you'll get to see how he fights back and what inspires him to do that. And that would be the people that he's been interacting with and actually learning from. I think learning from the humans is something he did not expect to happen.
Does that include anger?
That would be interesting. Not yet, but could it live in him? Yes, it could. How am I being for coy? I don't know.
You're doing coy.
Yeah. So how much background information did you know ahead of time about the Valm or about your character's own history, and how much did you... Very little.
Yeah.
Did you have any say in what they came up with eventually as you went through? No.
Again, having a say as an actor on a television show, it's a writing medium. They do what they do, and they're good at it. So I'll let them be good at what they do, and they'll let me do what I do. That really is a good relationship. But no, I didn't really come in with knowing much. It was so fast. At the beginning of season 3, they gave me a couple weeks' notice. They had been talking about what happens with this character because he's introduced at the end of season 2 as a CG created character. So I wasn't around this, right? And then so the show gets picked up and renewed, and now I guess we got to get a guy in there. So I was brought in pretty quickly and without much backstory. It was really more about what's he going to look like. That was their bigger concern.
I remember that. It was like, what's he going to look like? Is he going to speak? And if so, what's he going to sound like? And however he sounds, he's going to speak a little bit? Is he going to speak a lot? Is he going to speak a different language? Is he going to speak English? Is he going to be translated? Are we going to have a little pocket translator? Blah, blah, blah. And it comes, how the hell is this guy going to communicate? There's a lot of talk.
And so it's kind of a combo platter of all that right now, because you notice in the after effects of my voice, it is my voice. I can hear myself in there, but they've tweaked my voice downward to make it lower, and they've added a little bit of an echo effect to it. So it is thinking with that collar that I wrote, the blue lights on it. You just feel like the sound might be coming from that, because it might be a translator that does it all for me, because we have technology that could do all of that. Of course, we're Volm after all. So yeah.
Pope's necklace with the skitter talons on it early on established him as a badass that also took some pleasure and he enjoys killing skitters. But we haven't seen any additions to it, have we?
Well, it's funny. It just made me think that I'm wearing the Pope necklace. Yeah. And I took this, borrowed it, Michael Wright, TNT over there, borrowed it. I borrowed this first season on Falling Skies, and I thought the show is a really good shot. With any show, it's not going to come back.
Yeah.
So I kind of took this as a good luck charm, and it hasn't left my neck since.
Yeah.
If you're ever watching some of the other shows I do, it's still on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's CSI Miami. Just look. So anyway, forgive me. I know that wasn't a question, but I'm still wearing the damn Pope necklace. But yeah, I'd like to add to it. Yeah, those are the little mandibles.
Yeah, the mandibles. Yeah. So if the warrior is not still collecting his tokens, is he still a warrior? I mean, don't you have to step it up and add something, or add
I agree.
A piece of balm on him?
I think that's a good question for season 4. It's like, is he still going to be wearing the scooter necklace, or is he going to hang it up and work at the bar now full time, or are we going to start adding some stuff to it? But it's funny, when I first got it, I thought, well, wouldn't this smell? decaying little mandible things, you know. But anyway, it's cool.
Hopefully, I mean, I'd be okay with a Pope in the bar the whole time spinoff. Your Cheers, like Falling Skies Cheers, you know.
Who's your Norm?
Yeah.
You walk in, coaching. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
A fan sent me a photo of his kid, and his kid had one.
Yeah.
Pope is, I mean, he is a bad guy, but he's also very likable. He's my favorite character. I absolutely adore him, and you do so well. And you and Noah had that great scene where you got in the fight, and you had discussed, about how you ended up in jail, because we knew that he had been in prison. We just didn't know really why. Are we going to kind of see any more peeling of the layers of why he is the way he is?
To tell you the truth, I wouldn't think so. I think the writers have been smart to hold back until then,
right.
And I doubt there'll be anything more for a little while.
Yeah.
Just little
bits, little pieces
little
of why
yeah.
he is,
It's kind of neat. We've had to go almost 3 years before we got any backstory on him, which I think is kind of neat.
Right.
Instead of in the beginning, let's just tell everybody's story and all this exposition and crap. Yeah. Instead, it's like, no, we're all going to begin and go, and then we'll just find out whenever.
And we see little pieces of, his humanity and who he is, with the kids and, And...
Well, it's been interesting because for a lot of our characters, we've had to create backstory because the writers haven't been there to write it.
Right.
So now, like in that particular episode, I'm like, okay, that's not what I had in my head. I had something else because I had to make it up, and now I've got to say this. Okay, then that's what that'll do.
Right.